let's talk about Top Gun. Let's talk about Maverick over here. And the military entertainment complex, right? We usually talk about the military industrial complex, how that basically these companies that build weapons and bombs, they control the government because they need war to make money. And a spin on that is the military entertainment complex. So this is a very big subject, and it's a subject I love, and we're going to dive deep into it now because the big film of the year, the biggest film so far has been Top Gun 2, right? And Tom Cruise, he's back as Maverick, and I want to talk a little bit about how important the relationship is between Hollywood and the Pentagon and the Department of Defense. They have a very, very tight relationship. Oh boy, they're bros since day one. I really mean that. They've been doing this together, for 100 years. But what really, really solidified the relationship is Top Gun. Not the one that came out this year. I'm talking about the one from 1986? The first one. This one over here, where Tom Cruise is very young, right? And he's over here with Kelly, okay? And they look just absolutely smashing. That's the point, man. They're supposed to look good. The movies are cool. They're supposed to be cool. That's how they recruit people. They have to be cool. They have to look good. The movies have to be okay. Now, I'm not really saying Top Gun is like, the best plot in the world or something, but it's flashy. It's attractive. It makes you want to go be a fighter pilot, join the Navy. Well, guess what? It ain't happening. It ain't happening. But I want to read you from an article from the Los Angeles Times from 1986, and I want to blow your mind a little bit. I love this so much. Because it shows you the effect of propaganda. Because let me tell you something, brother. When you go and watch Top Gun, you're watching U.S. state-funded propaganda. You know how they talk about, this guy over there, he's Iran state-funded, media-affiliated, blah, 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 blah. And then they're going to say, this guy, he's Russian Putin puppet, Russian doll, whatever this label. Guess what? The Americans, they also produce propaganda. The British also produce propaganda. Oh, yeah. Wake up, smartass. And they do it better, unfortunately. And they spend more money on it. So when Top Gun was released, the first one, it boosted recruitment in the military. Oh, yeah. Here's this article from Los Angeles Times, okay? When the film opened in May, this is Navy recruiters, okay? Recruiters in some cities manned tables outside movie houses during Top Gun premieres to answer questions from would-be flyboys emerging with a newfound need for speed from an F-14 warplane. Do you understand what he's saying? They put tables outside the cinema, outside the movie theater, when Top Gun was playing, waiting for people to come and recruit them. Right? So they'd have maybe big Navy logo. They're not, remember, they're not allowed to legally, the Navy are not allowed to legally promote the movie. They don't have to. They just sit outside and in uniform with the logo, the Navy, and a picture of a jet. And you got a boy or a man or whoever, coming out of the movie theater. He just saw Top Gun, he just saw Tom Cruise in an F-14, and he sees Navy over there. He might think twice about joining, right? And I meant it in a good way, right? Yeah. This is real. They actually did this. I mean, come on. It's just it's so ballsy, honestly. It's so comical. It's comical, really. Navy recruiting officials say they didn't keep track of that operation's success. Yeah, right. But they have noticed more inquiries than usual about the Naval Aviation Officer Candidate Program since the movie's release. Do you understand? More people started calling up. More people started walking over to the Navy recruiter saying, hey, how can I join? I want to fly that plane. Yeah. And you bet their ass they kept track of they kept track of that. Remember, the Navy are not stupid, man. And I want to just clear something up very briefly, because some of you might be confused, because we're talking about planes and then you're hearing Navy. Yeah, that's the thing, man. In this particular case with the Top Gun school, they're a unit within the Navy, and they work off of aircraft carriers, right? Aircraft carriers. That's why we're talking about Navy, okay? So they're saying here that there seems to have been a big rush in those categories that I have to attribute to the movie. I've asked several of these individuals if they've seen the movie and if that's why they came down to talk to us again, and they've said yes. That these words are from a recruiter. Okay, these are recruiters telling the Los Angeles Times that more people started coming because of Top Gun. Yeah, and he said, quote, "On the other end of the spectrum, we've seen a general increase in interest in young men who don't yet qualify for the program." And I have to attribute that to Top Gun. So this is very important because guys who are a little bit older are thinking again about actually going and joining the military. And then, younger boys who are not yet 18 or whatever the age is to join the Top Gun Academy, they're very, you can influence them a lot, right? And the movie's having a great effect. Let me go back to this article. This is from the Washington Post, okay? And I want to show you some other ways that they collaborate together, right? But just let's be clear with each other. When you see Top Gun 1 or Top Gun 2, it doesn't make a difference. Those movies are propaganda for the U.S. military. And you can like them. There's nothing wrong with liking them as long as you know what it is, right? Some guy from Serbia told me that they have a saying or had a saying there, and I've heard this from multiple people from Eastern Europe or Russia. They had a saying that, quote, "When we watched television, we knew that the news is not real, or that the government is lying to us, blah blah blah. But in the United States, they watch the news and believe it." Like that's the difference, right? So. Here's some other examples. You want to see some other examples? Wow. I mean, let me blow your mind. Air Force One. I'm going to zoom in. Air Force One, Apollo 13, Armageddon, Black Hawk Down. That one was whoa. They worked really closely on that one. Iron Man. Yeah. All those movies that you're seeing, those lovely superhero movies. The James Bond series, of course. Indiana Jones, King Kong, Star Trek, Transformers, of course. Michael Bay, of course. And I want to make something clear. When we say they're working together, it doesn't mean, they're putting tables outside the Transformers thing to recruit people to become Transformers. No, the relationship is so close, you will not believe. People who are making a movie in Hollywood need money. You're a producer. You need to pay for all of this equipment, all of these people. And you want to write a film where you have helicopters and you have jets or whatever it is, or just scenes that take place aboard a ship. Do you know how much it costs to pay for that stuff? Even if you can find it, you don't have that money. So what do? You go to the military, you go to the Department of Defense, you go to the Pentagon, and you say, "Hey, can you guys lend me a couple of those Hueys, maybe a couple of Black Hawks? I need an Abrams tank. You got any F-14s? How about some troops running around?" They'll give you that. But you know what the Pentagon get in exchange? They get to write the script. Oh yeah. You're not writing that script alone. So you have someone from the U.S. military editing your movie script. I mean, that's just incredible. And they did that with Top Gun, by the way, huh? They did that with Top Gun. Oh yeah. I wanted to show you. Hold on, where was that line? Yeah. Take a look at this. So in 1986, Top Gun, when they made the first Top Gun, the Pentagon worked hand in hand with the filmmakers, reportedly charging Paramount Pictures just $1.8 million. That's it. That's a lot of money, man. But in movie terms, just $1.8 million for the use of its warplanes and aircraft carriers. Wow. But that taxpayer subsidized discount, that came at a price. The filmmakers were required to submit their script to Pentagon brass for meticulous line edits aimed at casting the military in the most positive light. One example, Time magazine reported that Goose's death was changed from a mid-air collision to an ejection scene because, quote, the Navy complained that too many pilots were crashing. That's lovely. I mean, that's lovely. As if it would have made any difference. Seriously. Now, although they continue in the article, they say that although Top Gun was not the first movie to exchange creative input, I love that, creative input for Pentagon assistance and resources, its success, it was so successful. That bargain became the standard for other filmmakers who began deluging the Pentagon with requests for collaboration. By the time the 1991 Persian Gulf War began, Phil Stroop, the Pentagon's liaison to the movie industry, told The Hollywood Reporter that he'd seen a 70% increase in the number of requests from filmmakers for assistance, effectively changing the way Hollywood works. So they worked together on The Hunt for Red October. Here, look at this line. Time magazine reported in 1986 that without such billion-dollar props, producers have to spend an inordinate amount of time and money searching for substitutes, and therefore might not be able to make the movie at all. See, that's the exact point that I was trying to tell you earlier. Okay? And Robert Anderson, who is the Navy's Hollywood point person, told PBS in 2006 that, quote, if you want full cooperation from the Navy, we have a considerable amount of power because it's our ships. It's our cooperation. And until script is in a form that we can approve, then the production does not go forward. They're really just, laying it out for you. They're laying it out very, very simply. Right? And they're naming a couple of movies here. Armageddon, Pearl Harbor, Battle Los Angeles, X-Men. Right? But you think most people who go to the cinema to watch these movies know that? Do you think most Americans, or most people in general, outside the U.S., because remember, these movies are so good, there's so much money being thrown at them, let's put it that way. They're distributed worldwide. They're American films. It's Hollywood. It's Hollywood. Do you think people all over the world watching these movies know that the Pentagon wrote the script? Or let's say had creative input. I love how they put these things. The Americans, they really have a way with English, right? They really have a way of diluting bullshit. I fucking love it. Because if this was Iran or China, they would say, for example, they would have censored the script or something like that, right? They would have final say on the script. But because it's the United States, it's creative input. It's a bunch of artists getting together in Soho and drinking coffee lattes, and you're discussing the script. Yeah, all right, sure. Obviously, I don't need to tell you that some movies, especially the anti-war movies, they don't get a lot of support, right? If you go watch Platoon by Oliver Stone, which is an anti-war movie with, the cast is ridiculous. You got Willem Dafoe, you have Charlie Sheen, you have Johnny Depp, right? And you have Forrest Whitaker. That is an anti-war film. And you think that he got a lot of support? You think those Hueys were lent to him? No. Hurt Locker, someone mentioned, I think, these films don't get a lot of support. I want to say one thing, though, please, before I forget. I want to say one thing to their credit. This Top Gun that just came out, I saw it. And honestly, look, man, I'm really into movies. It wasn't that good. It's something I would watch once and that's it. But, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm just going to tell you one thing. And this blew my mind. They're actually flying the planes. That is actually Tom Cruise flying the fucking plane. All of them, all of the actors are flying the planes. That blew my mind. Apparently, this is what happened. Let me show you. I'm not going to play it because I'm afraid of the copyright, but this is what happened. Tom Cruise, he went, they were begging him for a sequel, of course, because right now nobody can write a fucking script apparently in Hollywood. So they have reboots. There's Batman 45, Spider-Man 63. They make 100 fucking Marvel movies of garbage. Yeah, and so they reboot, right? They reboot. I assure you, Top Gun 3 is coming. And because they're begging him for to come back and play Maverick in the movie, he told them that I'm not coming back to do Top Gun 2 unless I'm flying the plane. Because in the last movie, in the first movie, even though it was so successful, the way they filmed it, there was somebody else flying the plane, an actual pilot, and they were in the back. I don't know how the hell they modified it, but that's the thing. It's okay to enjoy the movie, whatever the movie is, as long as you know what you're watching. you should know what you're watching. At least acknowledge, be conscious that this is it's funded, or sorry, it's edited by the Pentagon, right? They had a hand in writing the script. It's propaganda. Be aware of that at the very least. The thing is, they don't say what country they're fighting against. I think it's the same in the first one, right? They say bandit, bogeys, and they have all these cartoonish 1950s terms. They said in the movie, I'm spoiling it now, I'm sorry to you guys, but I mean, I read the question, I'm answering question, so Jay Rillo spoiled it. That country in the movie is not Russia. It's not Russia. It's either Iran or North Korea already has the thing. I think it's Iran, because Russia already has nukes. So does North Korea. I think it's Iran. The thing is, they would never do that. That would be nuts. That would be nuts. That's you're starting a war with Iran. At that point, forget about it. The nuke's already there. But again, they didn't say that it was Iran. Tom Cruise was actually flying the plane, and I gotta say respect, but at the same time, like, remember what you're watching. It's propaganda. He knows it. We know it. Whatever. Just look at it as something maybe enjoyable or whatever. You don't have a night out and go to the movies, but just remember what you're watching and who helped produce it. Right? Always keep that in mind. Always keep that in mind, because the way that I view this is that they're basically telling people that it's okay for the U.S. to bomb a country that's looking for nukes, right? And as if the United States is the world police, right? What? Like, hold on a second. Why doesn't Tanzania get to do that? Why isn't it Tanzania that gets to go fucking bomb a country making nukes? Who gave you the right? Why not China? Right? It's this whole, like, oh yeah, we are the world police. We are going to do this. We are the ones that are tasked with this valiant mission. It's so tough. Only our pilots can do it. It's so narrow. You got to be, you can't miss. There's only one shot. We will do this. We are the good crusaders, right? That's such bullshit. And the second thing I wanted to say is that in the future, God forbid, there's actually some kind of, war between the US and Iran. This kind of shit is gonna, it helps to condition people, right? Like, hey man, you shouldn't have been developing nukes. We had to come in and get you. Iran or otherwise, it doesn't matter which country. In the end, this helps to condition people that it's okay for the U.S. to be the world policeman, and it's okay for the U.S. to go and bomb another country that's looking for nukes, because only the U.S. is allowed to have nukes. Always remember, the only country that has ever used nuclear weapons is the United States, and they use them on civilians. Never forget that. This extends to video games, by the way, right? So when we're talking about the military entertainment complex, what do you think Call of Duty is? Well, it's a pile of crap today. I know that, but I still remember when Call of Duty 1 came out, Call of Duty 2, right? Call of Duty 3. But it's propaganda. Yeah, you should know that. It's absolute propaganda. This is from The Guardian, okay? And they wrote this 7 years ago, and they talk about Call of Duty, gaming's role in the military entertainment complex. Brilliant. Brilliant. You see what I'm saying? So, 6 months after Dave Anthony left his job as a writer and producer on the video game series Call of Duty, he received an unexpected phone call from Washington, D.C. That week, the caller, Steve Grinman, who's a former Pentagon official, had been watching his son play Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Quote, Greenwald told me that he'd been struck by the realism and authenticity in the game, and in particular, the story. So struck by it, in fact, that he'd been compelled to track me down. Okay? So the game, which has been played by more than 20 million people since its release in 2012, is split between two settings. The final years of the Cold War in the late 1980s and an imagined second Cold... Yeah, I know, I played it. In the latter scenario, the conflict is defined... Okay, I'm not going to read through this whole garbage, but basically, this is the important part. He invited the writer to visit the Capitol and join a panel of experts who were due to discuss the future of real-world modern warfare. Now, what do you think happened in the end? with this guy, because when you have someone like that who used to be in the Pentagon bringing you to Washington D.C. and showing you around and bringing you to a panel, they're trying to recruit you, right? I'm not saying necessarily it's a spy, but they're trying to recruit you, they're trying to please you, they're trying to woo you, right? That's what it is. They're giving you the nice treatment, okay? And so this guy left, and he went to work for the U.S. government, the Call of Duty writer. Yeah. So I think that pretty much sums it up. While there's currently no public evidence that the US military helps to fund mainstream video games that double as propaganda, as routinely happens in Hollywood, the makers of military-themed games often pay a license fee to gun manufacturers to use representations of their weapons, drawing consumers unwittingly into the military entertainment complex. Of course, when you go play Call of Duty and say, oh, that's the Deagle, and this is the USP-45, and that's if you're going to play Call of Duty 2, you're going to have the World War II weapons, right? Oh, that's a Lee Enfield 303, that's an M1 Garand, blah, blah, blah.